Hey guys, welcome to Rolling Homestead, and today we're going to be doing some planting of rosemary, some of lavender, some basil, and we're going to show you some secret soil that made these plants. This is my soil, and this here is ProMix. Just by looking, you can tell the stalks are bigger. This guy's a lot stockier than he is. So we're going to show you all that stuff. So stick around. Alright guys, thanks for joining me, and today we're going to be doing a pretty in-depth of soil, and we're going to do some lavender, we're going to do some rosemary, and we're going to plant some basil and a bunch of other stuff. But first off, I want to talk a little bit about Back to Eden gardening. And it's a very simple concept, and it goes way back to the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. If you think about it in that kind of category, God made man to have dominion over the world, and I don't want to get into the biblical and all the other stuff, but what I want you to concentrate on is the gardening part, because it was made to be self-efficient. It took care of itself, and that is in plain sight with this plant here. If you look at the difference of this is a Back to Eden garden. This is just compost and chips and everything else. Look at how healthy that plant and stocky that plant is. Now this plant is healthy, but look at the difference. And this one here will hold the water nicely, and this one here, I gotta water this every day. It starts to dry out, I gotta water it, I gotta keep close eye on this one. This one I don't have to do much to at all. I water once in a while and it does its own little thing. And that's the concept of the Back to Eden garden right there. You guys saw my mock Back to Eden garden that we had there. Well, Dawn found some seeds that we had that a friend gave us a muskmelon 3 years ago, and she pulled the seeds out and saved them in an envelope, and we forgot about them. Well, 3 years later, here we are. She popped them bad boys right up here in the front, and I transplanted them today. These, my friends, are 3-year-old muskmelon seeds, and I was amazed. I didn't think they were actually going to grow, and I kind of just said, she said she wanted to plant them. I said go ahead, figuring they weren't going to grow anyway, and here I am transplanting them. They're doing wonderful. So there's the concept right there. 3 years old, you can't go to the grocery store and get 3-year-old seeds and put them in the ground and they won't grow. But into the Back to Eden gardening and into that method, everything wants to grow. Guys, so we have our seeds all laid out here, and this is what we're going to be planting this year. And we have the flowers, we have the marigolds, nasturtiums, and the lavender, and that's going to help to keep the bugs and help with the gardening and everything that's going on there. We're doing that companion gardening. We have hot peppers, we have all the basils, rosemary, lavender, celery, cilantro, thyme, beans. We're going to be doing pole beans, and we're going to be doing bush beans, kale, spinach, radish, lettuce, cucumbers, sweet corn, beets, tomatoes, cucumbers, winter squash, summer squash, cabbage, cauliflower, and of course muskmelon. So today we're going to be concentrating more or less on the lavender, and we're going to do the basil, and I want to do some of this thyme and get that going, and the spearmint. So we're going to try these out. I have store-bought ones to see how they work compared to young seeds. So we'll see how that goes. Now guys, throughout the video today, I'm going to be giving you hints And you'll be seeing stuff in the background that tells you what is part of my special soil and what I actually do to help promote these from going from your normal Pro Mix to my special mix to the Back to Eden Gardening. So you actually see the difference here of how the plants are. Okay, so throughout this video you're going to be seeing clips of different things, and at the end, if you guys watch it all the way through, I have a short video on how I make my soil. So the first thing that we want to do today is we're going to do the rosemary, and I started putting some soil in here. Obviously I ran out of time, or ran out of dirt. I always got time. So we want to fill up our little cells here. And the reason why I'm planting so much lavender is not only because is it healthy for us, for respiratory, respiratory, muscles. There's so many different things that lavender is good for. It's worth checking out online. But it's also companion planting because it does help with different types of bugs, keeping the bugs down. And it's just really, really nice to smell in the summertime. The reason why I'm planting now, guys, is lavender, is it takes a long time to germinate. Roughly with these little cells, and it takes about we got 3 months before we can go outside. I might be a little bit behind right now planting these. They'll take the whole 3 months. You got to remember those are a different zone than what ours is. So what I'll do, guys, is I'm going to fill this up, pack it in place, and fill up these other ones here, and then we'll bring you back and we'll show you how we seed the lavender and everything else. So we'll see you in a bit. Okay, guys, so we got everything in here and we're filled up. So the first thing that I want to do is, it's really going to be nice once we get our greenhouse set up, that's for sure. So I want to make sure I water everything really good. I did pre-moisten. Still, we're going to give them a shot here. This helps to make the seed stick. We're dealing with really tiny seeds on some of these. All right, so the reason why I picked rosemary and lavender for one of the ones to start is it says to start indoors 8 to 10 weeks prior to going outside. So in the soil temps have to be 55 to 60. These things, and I guess from my reading and my research, these two here have a very, very poor germination rate. So that's another reason why I got 78 cells here. I will be putting 3 plants on the corners here. Just the fact is that they're that poor. So the first things that we're going to be planting is, oh, we forgot one. English thyme. Forgot to put that one up. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to do basil. And this one is another one that says start to 6 to 8 weeks prior to germination, or prior to last frost. Look how tiny those seeds are. That's the reason why we're doing what we're doing. In my big old paws, this is going to be fun. So I'm just trying to put 4 of them in here per tray of the basil. Alright guys, so we got the seeds in there. You saw me do that. Now I'm going to make some sticks here just so I know what they are. It's really good, especially when they're young guys, to mark what you got going on so we know what's in every one of these. And basil is a really good companion for tomatoes. It's also very good for cooking, but it's a great companion plant. So now what I want to do is I want to make sure that I got these seeds pushed in. And the reason why I'm using a spoon is because that way I don't push them down as deep as what I would if I was trying to use my finger, because this plastic is flexible and the seeds don't stick. So you get these all patted in there nice, and then we'll just put a dusting of dirt over the top, give them a little bit of water, and put them on the pads for germination. So their germination time is 7 to 14 days. So being on a pad, I'm hoping that I will see them in 7 days. Like I said, I'm just putting a little bit of dirt over the top of these guys just to protect them. What's nice about doing this in increments like this is because once the plant has germinated and is up and no longer needs the heat from the pads. And me only having 5 pads right now, there we go. So now we can give them a juice. Okay. Okay, so now that that's planted, guys, now we're going to do the lavender. And lavender we're going to do some of, like I said, from your big box store, and then I'm actually going to do the other seeds. There's 25 seeds of lavender in each one of these pouches. Seems like a lot more in this one. Holy man. That's how tiny they are. I mean, to the point where my big old paws I can't even pick them up. So these little things are I'm trying to get them in there as much as I possibly can. So we're going to go through and we're going to plant all these out, guys, and then I'll bring you back. So if you look at here, and you look at my finger, next to that thing, you know, and compared it to this one here. And this here is the mix that I'm going to show you today of how I mix that up, which is doing really well. This is just your basic, you know, here's my finger next to that plant. Here's my finger next to this plant. And then this is the same exact, they're all three the same plants, but that's just your traditional potting soil mix. That would be your normal Pro Mix with nothing added to it by itself. And it looks kind of weak today because he just got transplanted, but you can see the huge difference between the three. And these here are my Carolina Reapers that are mixed. These are my mix right here. And look at how nice those are. So that's, you guys remember my other video that I showed you when I did the mock Back to Eden gardening, and it's just amazing the difference that you get out of a plant in such a short time. This big plant, like I said, that's in front of you right now, is what last year that we got from a big box store that were supposedly, you know, 3 months started ahead, so they were that big when we planted them. And look, that thing's only a couple weeks old. Here's my thyme that's all planted. Here's my lavender that's all planted in there. So, and in this one we have basil with rounds. And like I said, guys, I'm using the Pro Mix and worm casings and some of the things on that table. So if you stick around to the end of the video, you'll see my exact mixture so that you can have plants that look like that, and tomato plants. You guys, I want to thank you for sticking with us through this and watching this video. Hope it helped you guys out. Some of it I fast forward through so you could skip the boring things of stuffing seeds and doing the dirt work. But the main purpose is, guys, is to check your soils out, get your things correct, and you can have some great plants that'll really be nice in the fall when it comes to harvest, and it'll give you a lot of produce. So you guys take care, God bless, and we'll see you on the next one. Alright guys, so I promised you I would show you how I make my soil and what I'm all going to be using here. So number one that I use is bone meal. And this is a 3-15-0. Total nitrogen is 3%. Available phosphate is 15% and calcium is 24%. So I'm going to use a scoop of this. Osmite 002. It's sodium potash. Calcium is at 1.8. Magnesium is at 0.5. Chlorine and sodium is both at 1. And then what we're also going to be using is worm castings, the Pro Mix, and vermiculite just to add some more for aeration. So all I do, guys, is I want to get myself some nice soil. First thing, you're going to use your base soil. And what this is all about is you got to get the good stuff. If you start your plants off using the borderline, you know, cheaper dirt, they're not going to be as healthy as a little one, harder to transplant, and it's also harder for shock when they go outside. So if you can get them nice and healthy from the start, it just makes you to have a better and healthier plant. So what we're going to do here is I want to break up these chunks. As you can see, guys, there's wood in here. This is going to be top-notch soil. So roughly I've got not 3 even scoops, but what I want to do is I want to get this in here, break it up as much as I possibly can. And depending on how much you're going to be planting, you might have to mix up a little bit more. Today we're going to be planting quite a bit, so I might be doing this mixture a couple times. So here's my worm castings. So I do 1 scoop of worm castings. Like I said before, I try to break that up. And then I did have a little scoop. So now I'm going to do 2 of these vermiculite, and all this does is help to aerate the soil. There is some in the Pro Mix. Now you should be able to get this, all of this material you should be able to get at your big box store, or you can also order it on Amazon. I'll put the links down in the description from the Amazon. And then this is bone meal. So you're gonna do a scoop of that. And try not to breathe this bone meal or the Asmonite in. It is kind of a dusty stuff, but that'll go away as soon as you start mixing this in. Okay. So now I want to top this all off with some more Pro Mix. And guys, this is really going to help you to get your plant that extra boost. You saw the difference between the tomato plant. They were both planted at the same time with my mix and just with the regular Pro Mix. And the difference, the stalks is so much thicker. It's a beefier plant, and it's a lot healthier. Alright, so we got all of that all covered up. So now you have like a total of 4 of those. So now we want to add some water. And before we do that, let's try to mix this up a little bit because I don't want the dust flying all over. I'd be doing this outside, guys, but right now it's really windy out and cold. So that kind of defeats the purpose. And then when you're planting stuff, you see how dusty this stuff is. You want to pre-soak your soil. And these sprayers help out a lot because they're not pouring down a whole lot of water, but they're giving it a nice soaking, which allows me to mix this up. See how it's all dry there underneath? When you start your seedlings, you want to be able it to be moist enough that it's not going to, it'll hold the soil or the water and keep them moist for the germination portion of it, but you don't want it so it's soaking wet either. When I'm all said and done, I want it so it'll clump in my hand nice, but it won't be like a mud, and all of this will be mixed up nicely. See, it's still powdery. It's still dry. So we'll just keep mixing it like this, taking our time. So that's the secret to the soil. I was giving you hints all the way through the video. If you guys caught them all, let me know. Put it in the description. But I showed you each and everything that I would be using today as a kind of a little neat thing to be doing. Because guys, those cantaloupe that we showed you, those were seeds that were taken from 3 years ago, and they were growing from a friend of mine's muskmelon. He had delicious muskmelon, and he was generous enough to give us some of the seeds, and they were 3 years old, and I didn't think that they were going to work. And we put them into the mock back to Eden garden, and they grew. So guys, there you have it. There is the soil that I use and mix up. This does help in promoting great health for your plant. It has all the vitamins and minerals that it needs to give it that kickstart to be healthy, so the process of taking it outside, it's not a huge shock on them. It's hard enough on a plant to transplant to begin with, so we really need to help them out by giving them all the nutrients and everything that they need to come back out of that. So I hope you guys like this. Hope you can use this information, make your own soil like this. Here it is. Stays in a nice clump. It's not too wet, there's no water coming out of it, but it's still moist enough. So you guys take care. God bless. Thanks for watching and sticking around, and we'll see you on the next one.